So, we're back this week talking about some new, fun, and exciting things. I made some adjustments to the audio, so I should be clearer than I was before. Although I expressed a lot of, I don't want to call it negativity, I've expressed a lot of plight with sharing my story. A lot of sad dealings, a lot of sad situations, a lot of sad circumstance, a lot of sad conclusions. I was able to see some positivity in the sense of what I needed to learn from this, what I needed to take from it. Becoming who I am, not because of, but in spite of. Back to that heavy responsibility at home. I don't want to necessarily call it severe because it was a double-edged sword. It allowed me to learn how to take care of myself and why I'm so self-sufficient now with having an older parent. There was really nothing slow about him. It was a him and I type of thing. I thought that increasing my responsibility, I don't want to say it would make me look better. I thought it would put me, it definitely put me in a position of control or perceived control, not just for myself, but the way people looked at me. It wasn't just that, oh, Malik's caring for his elderly father. It became Malik is taking advantage of his elderly father. Despite my dad's strong personality, despite the things that I had already explained, despite the fact that people looked up to him, again, I'm not the devil himself. I'm the devil's dick. So now I'm somehow a burden or an inconvenience to my own father. Not on his behalf, something that he's expressing, that my sisters are expressing, my mother is expressing, my dad's siblings are expressing. Somehow I'm in the way. The heavy responsibility at home became dad needs a new car, I'm doing it. Sending him right across the bridge to Jersey. An online auto loan application, Malik's doing that at 11 years old. Filling it out, knowing the details. I still know my dad's social security number by heart. Send him across the bridge, he writes the check, he comes home with a car. Grocery shopping, selling things on eBay. My dad taught me how to hustle. If I wanted something, I sold what I used to have, and then he put a couple dollars with it, I'd get something new. He never had a problem with that. I don't say this to brag, to give context. With my dad, despite the image that I'm giving of the abuse and the neglect, living with my dad, we ate off of glass plates, glass cups. We had coffee cups, wine glasses, silverware. Paper products were for cookouts. It wasn't about being better than. It was that my dad was from a different generation. He wasn't even a baby boomer. He was born in 1936. He was from the silent generation. He was 60 when I was born in 1996. So the way that I was raised was entirely different than what was going on around me. I was raised with class, at least in that regard. He was an Air Force veteran. He could cook very well. He went to cooking school. He had a green thumb. He was a hustler. He sold drugs, fruit, fish, a hack man. He gave people rides. My dad made shit happen. My dad always had a knot of money in his fucking pocket this fucking big, and money in his bank account. I used to play with his money. The only issue is that he would gamble and play poker and pinochle. He wasn't bad at it, but he certainly wasn't perfect. He was someone that could lose. If he lost, that meant he was losing everything. He played down to the last dollar. I spent many a nights at card games and playing with other kids and shit like that. Went home many a nights broke. We had no groceries. We had to wait for his next check to come from Social Security, from his pension. That's why I also had a lot of nice things. He thought that materials would suffice for being a good parent. That's why I mean that there's not a book to this. Although he was hot-headed, he took the time to learn me, come to an understanding. We talked about many things. Despite the plight, ups and downs that my dad and I went through, he was a well-intentioned man with flaws that sacrificed for me. He wanted me to be better and to do better than he did and that my mother did. He was a very well-informed man, very worldly, very understanding, very well-traveled, had been around the world on his own through the military, lived all over the United States, had a story for anywhere at any time. He had been through civil rights. He'd been through every single president since 1936. He lived through the Great Depression. Our family ended up in Philadelphia because his father punched a white man. They were on the train that night from Carolina. I can forgive him for his shortcomings because of his sacrifice. I can forgive him for his shortcomings because of his willingness to apologize. I can forgive him for his shortcomings, for his self-awareness. My dad wasn't a narcissist. My dad could be wrong. It hurt him to see me hurting. He was able to show remorse even though he did some very awful things himself. One thing I do know is my dad prayed for me every night until he died. That's really a blessing. He had no problems with my sexuality. My dad was the first person that I came out to. Some shit had went down in school that I had gotten myself into. Rather than him get a phone call about something that really wasn't what it was, he didn't care. He was disappointed, like I think any parent would be, but he didn't care. He said, "You're still my son. I love you." Every parent, as soon as they hear their kid is gay, whether you're a girl or you're a guy, the first thing that they think is that you're not going to have kids or you're not going to have a family or you don't have those ambitions. So that was about the only conversation that we had, is that I hope that I'll be long gone. He would say, "I hope that you procreate and I hope that you have kids because that's what life is about. Regardless of what you like, I hope that you do end up having children." My dad taught me, in the end, in a roundabout way, he taught me what respect is. Although he was my parent and he created me, he didn't owe anything to me. He didn't have to do that. Obviously, based on what I expressed, this is not something that people were capable of offering to me. My dad showed me, as he should have, he showed me that he loved me and that he wanted to see me do well. He knew a part of me doing well would take him apologizing for some things that he was not proud of. He didn't look down at the ground. He wasn't ashamed. It wasn't like pulling teeth. Some things took some time, as in time had to pass. That man looked me in my face as a man and said, "I'm sorry. I apologize. I shouldn't have." Whatever else I needed at that time is exactly what he did. I wish I had the chance to celebrate his life with those that mattered to him. Maybe I should say that I thought that he mattered too, but that didn't quite happen due to their selfishness with wanting to hurt me. One of the reasons why I was treated so poorly by the people around me is because my dad was hell-bent on making a difference in my life. The trips, the cars, the nice clothes, where we lived. People perceived that was all there was to me. What was so special about me that he would do this for me, but not for them? Meaning my siblings, my mother. They're seeing something from him that they've never seen before. My dad was a Rolling Stone. So who was he to slow down? What do you mean slow down? He said to me many times, people said to me, I could have just left you on your mother's doorstep. As cliche as that sounds, that was said to me plenty of times. Like I said, he apologized for that. It was almost like, oh, so you're doing me a favor too? I don't deserve anything. I was created. No one has any accountability. You guys laid down, had me. I'm literally just sucking the life out of every fucking body. It's not my fault that my dad has strained relationships with my siblings. You might be like, Malik, how did you come to that conclusion? That was said to me too. When they took the ashes and then I got them back, it was in a chicken salad container and they said, let her rock out with the ashes. It was, well, you grew up better. What does that mean? What does that mean? That I'm supposed to find guilt in the way that I grew up? I'm supposed to find guilt in the things that I have? I'm supposed to find guilt in my life experience? Just because you find me to be privileged, I need to act accordingly? I've done too much too soon as far as you're concerned? Come on with the bullshit. Come on with the bullshit. This is the niggified shit. I am your flesh and blood. Yes, people have envy. People can be jealous. But do you hear yourself saying this shit out loud? We have the same 24 hours that my father had. Right now. Link to gang. How'd he become a boss? We have the same 24 hours. Get to it, bitch. You need to move and shake. Make some shit shake. Get to the fucking money. You're lacking in certain areas. Don't sit around putting energy towards being jealous of me and hating on me. The cousins that I do interact with, they live right up the street. Love them to death. They come over talking about, my dad said such and such said that you lived here, you had this, and we didn't come around because you had this, you had that. You didn't want to be around us. You grew up with a silver spoon. It was too far for us to travel. Anything that you could think of, it was something about me being better than. Why? Because my dad taught me how to tie a tie. He taught me about Black history. I know all the oldies, Nina Simone, Aretha Franklin, The Temptations. Anything, you name it, it's in here. It's right here. My dad taught me how to be a boy. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive low, 4-wheel drive high, full-time 4-wheel drive, how to change oil, how to cook a meal in your sleep. You got to cook for 20 people for Thanksgiving, you're going to cook it right in your fucking sleep. You're going to wake up in the morning and the food is going to be done and it's going to be perfect. Macaroni and cheese, candy yams, whatever the fuck. Y'all be seeing me cooking and posting videos and shit like that. How did he do all that? That looks so time consuming. I'd be in the bed asleep. He taught me how to garden, how to repair things, how to maintain things, a flathead versus a fillet, needle nose pliers versus regular pliers. He was the first person to start teaching me about my health. When I was morbidly obese, he taught me about visceral fat around my organs. He was the first person to say to me, I would like you to lose some weight because I'm concerned about the fat around your heart and the issues that you may have in the future. He's the one who got me thinking. He wasn't just a dad, that was my fucking father. He finally had taken the time to not put me down. He used to talk to me before he passed away to let me know, I just hope that after I'm gone that you can get yourself together because you're a young man, you're very tall, and you have a nice physique. I would like you to enjoy your body, your youth while you have it. I have a very nice physique. I'm enjoying it in my youth while I have it. My dad used to tell me, after all these things I explained happened, he used to say, "You big head fucker, I told you. What are you getting upset for, you big head fucker? I told you, Leaky, it's you and me." That was his favorite thing. "I told you, Leaky, it's you and me, you big head fucker. Don't even let that bother you." He used to say, "You just so fucking thick-skulled, you just can't get past it. You just can't get past it. Fuck them. They don't like you, fuck them." I mean, that's from one end of the spectrum to another. That's going from here to here with no work in between. I mean, my efforts were going in vain. My family didn't care. I was always going to be a piece of shit. So it was the greatest lesson that he ever taught me. Besides you're big, you're smart, you're gay, you're black. It's funny because when it comes down to siblings, I don't really have patience for it because she put my dad's ashes in a deli container. The sibling situation is a little bit different because siblings tend to always have issues, especially when you're like half siblings or like I came 20 years later. I have nieces and nephews, like I said, that are older than me. Significantly older as well. I can't really apologize for their shortcomings. What I can say is that I understand them. And it's really a shame because I always wanted to be close with both of my siblings. I tried. I could say sometimes they tried, but not very much. That was also hard for me to deal with as well. Because the ultimate goal in all of this was the sense of belonging. Through my childhood, I made continuous efforts to be around, like wanting to sleep over, wanting them to sleep over, wanting to take trips with their kids, do things with them. I don't want to say I was willing to reduce myself as I always had my nose in the air. I wanted to bond with them. I knew what it was to go between West Philly, go between living in the county. So between those two mediums, I did understand their lifestyle more than they knew. Just in the sense of the neighborhood that they lived in, that sort of thing. They had no idea of the level of abuse that I was going through. Not that they were being abused, just identifying with their day-to-day life is something that they felt like I didn't. And I really, really did. My siblings never really gave me a fighting chance. They hate me. That's what they decided. The jealousy and envy around having our father in my life is somehow my fault that they didn't have him because he had sex with a junkie. Because those are the things that I can understand. Where did this child come from 20 years later from this junkie chick? My dad's 60, just out here getting junkie bitches pregnant. It sounds harsh, horrible. This is the reality of it all. Is somebody putting a baby on my father? Rather than address it, I don't know how you really would, rather than address it amongst them or amongst my parents or my siblings and my parents or my siblings and my father, it was just I don't want to call it micro, for the sake of this conversation, the microaggressions were taken out on me. Like, it's no secret that my mother's first love is crack cocaine. Always was. My dad used to do it with her for many years before I was born. Him putting down crack to take care of me bothered so many people. Collecting that pension that nobody knew about because he had turned 60 the same year that I was born pissed off so many people. You just go from being a hustler to, this is the late 90s, this man's getting $3,000 a month. He's rich. In 1996, $3,000 a month, you can go out and get a mortgage from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac for $900, $1,000 a month. Literally have a 5-bedroom house with a driveway on a fixed rate because they was just handing them out like hotcakes. Come on, you're rich. It became the punching bag because I'm what made my father change. Regardless if I ended up being gay, I ended up being overweight, all these things happened. My dad was always proud to have a son. Especially when I got really big, like tall and stuff like that. Very proud to have a son, like any dad would be. He always wanted me to play football. I don't want to say that he didn't take it seriously. The computers came so naturally to me. He was kind of like, you'll always have that. Why don't you play football? Why don't you play basketball? Why don't you swim? Why don't you do a sport or something? Because you'll be rich. Here I am going to school with the Caucasians and shit. I want to do what I'm passionate about. I want to get a job that I feel important in. I should have played football. I should have went into the NFL. But still successful anyway. I really pity my sisters. Imagine how delusional and sick that you are, that you feel disadvantaged because one of your siblings were born. Now, you can't get anything out of our father for your children because he has a child that's the same age or younger than your kids at 60 years old. Suddenly, I'm taking your father away from you. My mom feels like I'm taking her man away from her. My dad, like I said, went from a victim of circumstance, being a bum like them, to essentially leaving them behind for me. I think it's really sad and fucked up to have this level of dysfunction. You have to be really small-minded. You have to be really small. You have to be like this. You have to absolutely be destroyed inside and out. It frustrates me that even as a child, although I didn't know better, that I allowed such small-minded, niggified, minuscule individuals to have such a large impact on me. I am not small-minded. I'm larger than life. My personality has always been that way. I say what I want to say. I say what comes to mind, even if it gets me in trouble. The way they have gotten through their day-to-day, the way that they have gotten through their lives, the devices that they've come up with to wake up in the morning, they get through their day by destroying. It's unfortunate. It's prevalent in all families, but especially African American families, because mental health, mental awareness, self-esteem are just not a priority. Because even like I said, with all this education on one side, all this strife on the other, both of them are not thriving as a whole, as a family. They're surviving. Their perceptions of me is that I was thriving. I didn't deserve to thrive. That I had it easy. That the things that I had, the things that I experienced, the things that I possessed is something that I either had too soon or they would never have. Whether it was where I went, the cars that my dad had, the fact that I had a credit card at 18 and his name was not on it. Within African American families, We perpetuate the negativity because it's the easiest thing to do. Rather than talk it out, rather than come to understanding, rather than put it on the table, we have been conditioned to throw stones and hide our hands, to lack consideration, understanding, patience, to not try to be better than yesterday. Because why do that? That requires too much effort. I'd rather just talk about you and tell you to go fuck yourself. I'd rather judge you. I'd rather go around painting that you've done something to me when in reality I have an issue with you because I don't understand you and I don't want to understand you. That's what it is. I'm not even talking about my sexuality because everything is not for everyone. Long before Malik came out, regardless if people knew, they could tell, I always had tendencies, whatever it may be, it's still one of those things. Lay it all out. You can be a bank robber. You can be a felon. You can be a crackhead. You can be a cokehead. You can neglect your children. You can be a child abuser. You can steal from your child. You can smoke crack, do drugs, sell them. Be a hustler. Don't be fat. Don't be gay. God forbid. Just don't do that. Don't talk like you have an education. Act like you know where you come from. You're poor. Act like it. You don't know what it is to struggle. You're never going to make it. You're gay. You're delusional. You're weak. You don't live in reality. You're never going to make any money. You're never going to be able to take care of yourself. What are you going to do when your dad is dead? That concludes This Is a Story All About How. I'll have some more stories and specific examples, not so much in a generalized sense, for future episodes, for specific topics that I'll be discussing. So there's a lot more to share. I wanted to share some of these things with all of you as a precursor to this podcast so I can be transparent, so people can see who I am, see some of my life experience. A part of being me is that I have to be direct. I have to be honest. Not that anybody asked, it's just within the fiber of my being to live within my truth. As I've expressed several times, is that I hope that with sharing my story, that if you know me, you have gained some better understanding. If you don't know me, that I've had an impact on you, that you've gained some better understanding about yourself or the circumstances that you may be dealing with. Whether similar, the same, different, I hope that you can apply this to your life. Why I call this Metropolitan mindset, because we all have the opportunity to succumb or succeed within ourselves. When you come from these urban environments and these urban areas, regardless of skin color or race or creed, sometimes you do just go to the wayside. Sometimes the cookie does just crumble. What are you going to do? Are you going to hit rock bottom and stay there? Or are you going to pick yourself up and get yourself out of whatever you're going through? That is my goal with speaking this word. So I hope that within these first 5 videos that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you stick around, because the things that I'm expressing, the topics I'm discussing, the things that we're working on, I really have some things coming that I'm excited to share. I'm excited to express. I'm excited to talk. I'm excited to open up a microcosm, so to speak, at least on my platform, where people can be themselves. They can be transparent. There is no judgment. There is only understanding. There is healing. There is resolve. There is peace. Leave the neglect behind. Speak on that experience. Get it out. Let that trauma go. People are not going to like you for the way that you talk, or how nice your teeth are, your missing teeth, how nice your car is, how bummy you are, you have holes in your shoes, you're broke. They're going to think they're better than you because you do have money. They're going to think you're better than them. You have pretty eyes. You have big feet. It could be the way that you walk. It could be that you've had more boyfriends than them. You've had more girlfriends than them. Your kids have more friends at school. People are going to not like you for any reason under the sun. In the same breath, those are all the same reasons that somebody will like you. That is all the reason why someone will respect you. That is all the reason why someone will love you. All the reasons that people can dislike you for are all the same reasons that people can like you for. When you wake up day to day dealing with your struggle, your circumstance, you find every excuse to give up. That should be when you find every excuse to fight. That should be when you find every excuse to prove these motherfuckers wrong. A friendly fool will lose tomorrow reaching back for yesterday.